Welcome to another episode of The Open Agenda, where we take you behind the scenes of people, programs, and partnerships that serve Queen Anne's County. I'm Bruce Grove.
And I'm Beth Molaski. Today we're talking about one of Maryland's oldest law enforcement agencies, but also one that many people may not know much about, the Maryland Natural Resources Police.
When most people think of the Natural Resources Police, they probably picture officers patrolling the waterways or checking fishing license, but their responsibilities extend far beyond that.
That's right. These officers protect Maryland's natural resources, enforce conservation laws, respond to emergencies on land and water, conduct search and rescue operations, and work closely with local, state, and federal agencies to keep residents and visitors safe.
Joining us today are Corporal Norris Shannon and Corporal Devin Dieter with the Maryland Natural Resources Police. We're looking forward to learning more about their careers, the history of the agency, and the many ways they serve communities here on the Eastern Shore.
Whether you're an avid boater, an angler, an outdoor enthusiast, or you've simply wondered what the Natural Resources Police do, we think you'll enjoy today's conversation.
All right, I think it's time to get started. It's time for us to hit the open seas. Coffee. I tried to do something there. Anyway, I consider this podcast open. Seas Coffee.
Lights on, mic check. What's happening with QAC next? Go behind the scenes with Bruce and Beth. The conversation shaping the county's future. This is the Open Agenda.
Beth and I are very excited today because we often talk about how cool it is to really learn something new when we do these podcasts. So our guests today come from the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. They're their police. And man, is it going to be cool to ask you guys some of these questions because I don't know enough about you. So we brought in two people today. We have Norris and Devin, and we're going to ask you guys to introduce yourself. Tell us how long you've been an officer with DNR and just, what makes you guys tick.
Awesome.
Norris?
Awesome. Oh, thank you. First, thanks so much for having us. So I'm a corporal with Maryland Natural Resources Police. I joined back in '99. I was recruited from University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. My parents are both actually biologists. So my father was director of Fish and Wildlife for the state of Minnesota before we moved here from Minnesota. My mom's a toxicologist, and my dad's specialty is aquaculture. So I have a little bit of a background in it. And I was fortunate enough to find out about Natural Resources Police and be recruited by them. I was one of 12 officers for my academy, and that's back when we had the academy here at Mattapique, which now we have it at the Maryland Police Training Commission. So our academy at the time was almost a year long because we have to be certified as police officers, but then we also have, especially back then, we had to spend a month on seamanship and navigation, learning how to plot charts. But now we have man tracking, land nav, and then of course you have, fish and game reg, which is extensive. So that's kind of how I started. I've been on going on 28 years now, and I mean it's gone by in a blink, in a flash, and I attribute that to the job just being as great. It's a great job. I remember early on. One of my sergeants saying, I got about 7 years left. And I remember thinking, that's a lifetime. That is a lifetime away. And now I blink and here I am, like literally getting ready to transition to, the next stage of my life. So.
Wow.
And we have Devin with us, who we all just found out is by far the oldest person on the podcast today. Devin, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your path.
Yep, so I'm also a corporal. Just got promoted recently, actually. So still figuring that out. But yep, I started the academy in 2020. So I've been patrolling for 6 years, 5.5, 6 years. I've been in Kent County for a year and a half, 2 years, and working in Queen Anne's County now. Background, my grandfather, both taught me a deep respect for nature and hunting, and since I was pretty much born, they've had me outside hunting and stuff. So I just knew that's something I wanted to keep going for my kids and other people's kids. Just have the nature that people could just enjoy, fishing wise, hunting wise, and just because it can run out if we don't keep it in check. So it's very important to me to keep that going.
Yeah, very cool.
So, and we kind of wanted to see like what made you decide to go into this role versus like a regular public safety? Like what made you think of Department of Natural Resources versus just a regular law enforcement?
Just pretty much what I said there, as far as just wanted to continue that. Like my father was a very long history with military and police wise, so I wanted to use that, but I also wanted to enjoy what I did. So I looked at like different police agencies and what their day-to-day was, and that's just not something I could really. It's very like worthwhile what they do, but it's just not something I wanted to do for 30 years per se. So the conservation side of this is what I can see myself doing, and it's very rewarding to be able to enforce it.
Yeah, I would agree. It's extremely rewarding. And I was just kind of fortunate. I was a criminal justice major and was just kind of like looking at different departments. And I did the internship with the Department of Natural Resources, which is our umbrella. A lot of people refer to us as DNR. They're like DNR officers. It's actually Natural Resources Police.
Okay.
We fall under the DNR umbrella, which is comprised of things like boating or forestry and things of that nature. So we are the law enforcement arm of the Department of Natural Resources, the Natural Resources Police. But talking about rewarding, like there's such a great like work-life balance, and I think it's a little bit different for us. I think it takes most officers about 5 years to become proficient, not necessarily good at their job, but just proficient. We're just talking about traditional law enforcement or law enforcement across the board. But for us, Devin, you could tell me what your experience is, but I think we almost have to live it for like the first 5-6 years, because there's so much for us to learn. So we really throw ourselves into it when we first come on, and because you have to learn not just to know the laws, but how do you navigate? How do you navigate at night? Running your boats at night, or how can I tell when this fish was caught? Like if they've had it for a while, has it shrunk down a little bit? Like there's all these like little things that we have to learn. Yeah. You have to be, and like we'll get together and we'll talk about cases. And I think all officers do this, but especially for us, because there's only 260 of us for the entire state. Each officer is responsible for about 1,900 square miles. So we're spread out. So when we get together, we like to talk about like our experience, especially when we first come on. Like what have you learned, or what experiences have you had? And so we can kind of like learn from each other. But in that, it is rewarding. I mean, I've navigated from Annapolis down to the South River in the middle of the night, and there's a feeling like no other officer does this, the things that we do. Like, it's very unique for us. So I take a lot of pride in that, and it is very rewarding.
Yeah, and you kind of almost answered the next question, where we want you to describe the agency and kind of what the mission of it all is, and we can get more into depth about that. But Beth and I were just talking to you guys before we start recording, that we didn't know exactly what you guys do, and was the joke of, we know that you watch people that are fishing. Like, I know you do that, but I know you. There's a lot more to it.
I knew I had to get my son a fishing license this year because he turned 16, and that was like the extent of it. Like, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a lot more than that. So if you could talk about that, because I think,
my goodness,
not only that, but you have this big thing called the Bay that's going to all these different areas. I'm sure your job changes by the location, by the minute, by the second, almost, right?
It does, and depending upon where you are. I mean, an officer working St. Mary's County is going to have a completely different job than someone who may be working out in like Garrett County, or Annapolis versus even like Ocean City, what the guys are out there and guys and girls are doing out there. And we started from the Oyster Navy back in 1868, when there was all this violent fighting going on over shellfish in the bay, and we've evolved from there to being more of when I came on, we were almost strictly fish, fur, and feathers. That was really our main mission, conservation law enforcement. And since that time, in the 27 years that I've been on, we've become more of a homeland security, search and rescue, public safety department that specializes in conservation. And we have to be, because there's so few of us, and we're so specialized. No one else does what we do. So, you know, we wear a lot of different hats for the people of the state of Maryland. And that's why our academy is so long. I would say our average officer is leaving out of the academy with probably 4 times the amount of skill sets as a traditional officer.
Wow.
And that, I mean, a average police academy can be 3-6 months, sometimes a little longer, but generally not as long as ours. Because not only do we have like EVOC, where we have to learn how to operate vehicles at high speed and firearms and constitutional law like every other officer, but just learning to run a boat, you know, and just like navigate the bay is a specialized skill. That's something that nobody else does.
Do you have people that come in that have never driven a boat?
We
That you have to
people
teach
come in
them?
that can't swim.
Yeah.
Why here? All right.
Yeah.
That was like,
I can float. I'll get there. Don't worry.
I mean, with all this gear on.
Like we have to have like
Right.
Yeah. No, I'd be on the bottom wearing this.
And so you talked about the oyster police a little bit. What are some of the biggest milestones in the evolution, would you say?
So post-Civil War, oysters became very popular, and especially in the state of Maryland, where we kind of started. We were very specialized in the canning industry. Nobody was really where we were in terms of canning, so we were sending oysters not just across the country, but sometimes across the sea. And I mean, they were referred to as white gold, you know.
Oh, wow.
And there were 3 pressures. There was pressure from technology, because you had the tongers and the dredgers were fighting about ways to harvest oysters. You know, dredging is very efficient, but it's also very damaging to the bar. You had economical pressure, and then we also had jurisdictional pressure. So you had people coming from Virginia coming up into Maryland water. So there was a lot of pressure for this very limited resource at the time, which at the time was not regulated.
Right.
So that also kind of started our legacy of regulation in the state of Maryland, of regulating natural resources. And so out of this, people were literally losing their lives over shellfish. So out of this came the Oyster Navy. And since that time, we have progressed and developed. And as a small, it's an interesting thing, because we have statewide jurisdiction. We're responsible for public lands and private lands. We're responsible for all waterways. So from the Potomac to the Patuxent to the Chesapeake Bay, the tributaries, all like everything. And you have 260 officers that are responsible for all of that. So we have had to, our training is extensive. And I'm an instructor for the department, and you know, I've had the honor and privilege of helping teach other departments and instruct other officers. So my old team leader, when I was on the TAC team, used to say, "You only know what you know." And so I've had the opportunity to look at other departments and kind of see where we were and where we are, and had other instructors come to me and say, like, "You guys are where we want to be," which is a huge turn from where we used to be playing catch up. Now we're kind of starting to set the curve in some things. So yeah, it's really evolved. And like I said, when I came on, it was all about boating, your boat handling skills. I mean, the veterans, that's what they judged you on, was your boat handling skills. So how you navigate at night. They take you out in the middle. Like one of my old instructors would put me on a boat, and he'd put newspaper around the cabin, the inside of the cabin. And he'd go up on the flying bridge, and we had to develop a speed time chart. So knowing what heading I would be on at what time, and when to make the change in heading. And then he made sure that I wasn't causing any danger or getting in danger. But it was that level of intimacy with the bay and the water, and like knowing how to navigate. So, you know, and it's very specialized, as I said. And I used to work at the academy for a while, and I told my guys, like, you know, we are very privileged and honored to be in this position, and to get the training and kind of set this precedent for the state. So yeah, I take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah, that fly, he's in the episode with us today. Yeah, we're talking about the history, and we didn't put this on the show breakdown, but it just made me think, because I just took a tour last week of the Narrows area and how that used to be the big shanty town. So I guess that would have been your jurisdiction, right? Like the shanty towns around the water, all those boats coming in and coming out. Would that have been you guys?
Everything on the water.
Yeah, that's crazy
Up and
to
down
think
the
about. Yeah.
shoreline. Yeah.
So for the people listening that are Queens County, that's how involved it is here. It's not just, the big body of water that connects us to the other side of
Yeah.
Maryland.
Even the small ponds
Yeah.
in your local, that get stocked, like we're
Okay.
checking that. And that's the thing about our job is there's no like standard day. And we have a lot of freedom in our job. Like our boss isn't calling us in the morning saying, I want you to go here, I want you to go here. To be a good NRP officer, you have to have a relationship with your community. You have to know what the activity is. So it's kind of just changes from day to day. So when I was in Prince George's County, we have a boat at the National Harbor. So if I wanted to go take the boat out, if I'm like, well, it's a really nice day, people are probably going to be out in their boats. I might drive down to the National Harbor, jump on my boat, patrol the water from the Woodrow Wilson Bridge down to the county line, and just see who's out there, what they're doing. I could be checking safety equipment, making sure people are operating safely, as well as just making sure people have their fishing license or whatever.
Yeah.
And the same thing in Annapolis. Annapolis is a really, really busy area. It's much busier than like Prince George's County. Prince George's County has its activity. Annapolis has its activity. St. Mary's County has its activity. So we're all very specialized. And I find if you're an officer like that gets promoted and you go to a different county to take that billet, like it's almost like to a certain extent you have to start all over again because you got to build that basis of knowledge. You have to know who your players are out there and work to build your community. Unlike a lot of law enforcement, we don't get calls for service all the time. Meaning, if you're like a traditional officer, you might start your shift with 30 calls waiting for you to clear.
Right.
And you're just trying to clear them as calls are coming in. Whereas for us, we do get calls for service, but not at that volume. So most of the information that we get from our community. We get from the people in our community. They're like, oh, I'm going to call Corporal Shannon about this. I've seen this issue going on. And so we're a very community-oriented department. We have to be.
We're talking about how you've grown over the years. You used a term. I'm sorry, I already forgot. It was fish feathers. What was
Fish, fur, and feathers.
Fish, fur, and feathers. It's developed now that you do so much more that there's even a SWAT.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have, and Devin can definitely talk about that. I was on the team years ago, but we have canine. We have drone pilots.
Oh, wow.
We have aviation.
I know about the aviation because I used to dispatch, and I remember that. I can remember when we needed another helicopter.
Yeah.
Occasionally, Natural Resource Police helicopter would land.
Yes,
I remember that.
Huge part of our search and rescue efforts. Sergeant Buchanan flies out of, where does he fly out of?
Easton.
Yes, out of Easton. We have dive. Did I say that already?
No.
We have yes, we have a dive. I was going to say very talented dive team, but I think our special operations group is
Wow.
really amazing. But I would say our department is amazing, but by extension, our special we kind of do everything. And if you want to talk about the team,
Sure. Yeah. I think they saw a need because we're the lead water, like maritime agency in the state of Maryland, like how that, if something happens on the water, like a murder suspect or something goes out on the water on a boat, like who's going to go out there to them? And that's kind of where we get involved.
Yeah.
We got armored vessels and stuff like that we can go out there with and use our own, pretty much the same thing we do on land, but just by boat.
Right.
And that's what we train with. But we do woodland because we're very familiar with the woods. So we do tracking for like suspects or search and rescue for people who are missing, but they usually don't call us for that. They have other people to search and rescue stuff. But someone like a suspect who runs into the woods, like they'll call us and we'll start the tracking element of that. And and then we do like warrant services and we assist other agencies a lot too. We'll bolster them up if they're missing, if they're down like manpower wise, because the teams that we train with will all cycle through and we'll help out to complete the goal.
So basically, what you're telling us is you really hate it when someone says, "You guys handle the fishing, right?" That's what I've learned because you guys do so much more.
Such a broad scope. It's all part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that you actually hit on a very important topic. Is that like we really want the people of the state of Maryland to know what our capabilities are and how we serve the people of the state of Maryland, because we traditionally have not shed a lot of light on that. People don't know who we are, what we do, or the level of training that we expect from our officers. Yeah. So just for example, Devin was talking about woodland tactical operations. They didn't exist before our team, really.
Oh.
So if you had an armed suspect in the woods, they would just kind of push through the woods. So we were the first team that developed a method to try to do this in a more safe and efficient way. A more tactical approach to it. And now, I don't know, do you guys still put on a woodland school for other operators?
Usually do once a year.
Woodland and MPOC is
BMOC.
BMOC.
Yep.
BMOC as well, right?
It's usually once a year too.
Right.
Yep.
So we're helping to train other operators in the state and maritime operations and woodland operations. That's just like, and that's just a sliver. That's just one aspect of kind of like what we do. So the way I like to put it is like if you're a traditional officer, you pull someone over the side of the road for, let's say, you believe them to be operating impaired, right? So you pull them over, you do your preliminary breath test or your screening, I should say, and then if you feel like you have enough, then you're going to take them for a breath sample, right?
Yep.
So now you do the same thing for us, but on the water. So if it's on the road, you don't have to worry about a car drifting off or floating off somewhere or other occupants. But for us, we might have to get that towing bridle out. We may have to do a side tow or a bow stern tow into a marina, right? Give them a chance to get their land legs back. And then we have to do our field sobriety tests. And we're doing the same thing. We have a 2-hour window, right, to get that done, just like a traditional officer. But there's a lot of other things that we have to consider.
You can't just leave the boat sitting in the middle
you
of
can't just leave the boat. Yeah.
First come, first serve. That's someone else's boat now.
And we're almost always by ourselves. Almost always.
Oh,
Not
wow.
always, but yeah. Very seldom do we get the opportunity to work together just because there's still few of us. And it depends also on the county that you're in. So.
Wow. So I know this is probably, you're not even going to be able to answer this, but what does a typical day look like? What does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, sure. So we have take-home vehicles.
Okay.
So if you live out of the county, you have to be at the county line or whatever your shift starts. But I have the privilege of starting at my house, so I can start there and then pretty much start whatever my plan is for the day. Either checking piers for fishing or crabbing activity. Go to the boat and start checking people that way. Boating safety-wise, as the Narrows is very busy this time of year.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's probably one of the busiest in the state as far as boat traffic. But that's just this season right now. As far as hunting, during like the actual hunting season, it's pretty much the same thing. Just go patrolling, or if you have a case you're working, just go do that. There's no one over top you saying, go do this or that kind of thing. Like, they trust us to work the activity and
The area,
do it
you take care of
accordingly.
it, right?
Yeah, no one's pressuring us, but most of us want to go work.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this job really it's a calling. Most of our officers, I'd say, if not all, are passionate about the work and getting out there and being proactive. You have to be proactive. So, and in terms of a typical day, that's going to change from season to season and area to area.
Oh yeah, because
So-
we're little America. That's what people call Maryland.
Yes,
like
America
there's
in
every
miniature.
America miniature in Maryland. So you could be anywhere, the mountains, the ocean, the
Yeah.
bay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we work large bodies of water, but up in like northwestern Maryland, where they're like landlocked, it's completely different
Oh, yeah.
job up there.
What about your day? You're still an instructor?
So I in November I was put into the recruitment and community outreach
Okay.
Unit. So my job has changed drastically. I spent 25 years in the field, 26 years in the field, and absolutely loved it. And it was really I was very honored to be asked to come to the recruitment unit. My boss and I have known each other. I'm 51 now. My boss and I have known each other since I was 18 years of age. And through the years, we've talked about what we could do to have an impact and influence change in the department. And so the day that I found out that I was going to the unit is the day he found out he was going to the unit as my new boss. And so we're like, oh, we've got all these ideas, and we're just like, and still we're like, he likes to call us Pinky in the Brain, when we sit together, because we have so many things that we want to do as we are, coming towards the other end of our careers. And we just want to leave things better than we found them. And so we want to just try to have as much positive influence. We're in a really good space right now, this department. I almost like to say it's almost like a paradigm shift where we are moving, we're being very intent in our progression, from everything from building up officers to building up leadership to, techniques and training, equipment. I mean, the fact that we have a drone unit now is just awesome. Amazing. I mean, these guys, it is a force multiplier. The corporal who's in charge of it, went out the other day and he did a flight, and what it would take me if I was going to do a foot patrol of Sandy Point State Park, for example, that would literally take me all day, and he can cover it in like 30 minutes. I mean, and when I say cover it, I mean like look at hot spots and check out areas. If we have, let's say we have a lost child or something like that, it's really interesting to see the development. Because as I said, we came from fish, fur, and feather. So when I came on, now every officer has a take-home vehicle. Every officer has a take-home vehicle. If you live in your district, as Devin said, you start from your house.
That's nice.
If you live outside your district, as soon as you hit the county line, you start your shift. When I came on, I lived in Bowie, and I was stationed on St. George's Creek in St. Mary's County. So that was an hour-and-a-half drive in my personal vehicle to get to the boat. And then once I got there, the corporal was usually there waiting to go. And I mean, we would spend 8 hours a day, every day on the boat. That's all we did. So you had Marine officers, you had inland officers, both NRP, but the inland officers never really got in the water.
Okay.
And the Marine officers never really came inland. So we had a vehicle for the boathouse, and the only time we used that vehicle was to go to the office or go to court, or occasionally we might use it for lunch. But we really didn't get in the boat, in the vehicle that often. We spent almost every day on the boat, and that was year round. So that was in the freezing cold, that was in the hot summer. As a matter of fact, it just jumped in my head, but I remember working with my old corporal. This was when I had first come on as a young officer, and I was like, I'm going to have arthritis by the time I'm 50, because my hands were so cold, but you're out there, you're like checking oysters and stuff. Your gloves would get soaked through. So I would be out there culling oysters with no gloves on, because it was just more efficient to do it that way. But it was so cold, and you just kind of got used to working in those elements. It's just kind of like part of the job. But I'd see the vets when I was a young officer, no jacket on, no coat, just out there going through a bushel of oysters. And so, I would look like those are the guys I aspired to be at the time, just kind of like these, outdoors guys.
That's all now.
But you don't do that anymore. Now everybody's trained in both land and water, or do you still have people that specialize in land and specialize in water, or does everybody do everything?
Yeah, it depends on the area where you work. Like out west in like Allegheny County, like I don't know how much water they have.
Oh, okay.
So their main focus is inland. But coming here in Queen Anne's, like, it's everything. We got to be trained on everything and know it by heart pretty much. So.
Yeah, so we've always had like marine and inland, but the state parks were not always ours. So some years ago, we merged with the rangers, who were at that time law enforcement officers. The state park rangers were law enforcement. Well, they went through our academy, a modified version of our academy, and became NRP officers. So the rangers that we have now are not law enforcement. They're specifically there to care for the park and attend to the park visitors.
Okay.
They do things like maintaining the park, education programs, a vast array of things our rangers are responsible for. and then we handle the law enforcement component for them. And so we basically, it was like two agencies, your rangers and the NRP, and they kind of became one. So now we have the additional responsibility of our state parks, in addition to other state lands. So yeah, we do pretty much everything now. And now that we have take-home vehicles, we're everywhere. A lot of people don't know we do traffic. I don't think we like to do traffic, but
I do know that you do traffic. 'Cause
yes.
like I said, I started my career here in dispatch. So
So when you say you do traffic, because like I was actually going to ask this later.
they
So-
would occasionally, like when an officer was leaving their house, that's when I remember them calling out traffic. It wasn't because they wanted to. It was because they were traveling from their house to somewhere else, and there was something that happened in front of them that they just couldn't ignore.
But
It
That's
was
pretty much how.
Yeah, but I've seen lights coming up behind me sometimes. I'm like, uh-oh. And then they pull up and I see that's you guys.
yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, phew. But are you telling me that I should still worry?
They can pull you.
Not worried, but
Yeah, no, I'm not worried, but be
if it's
mindful.
not for you, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are state police officers. So
Yeah.
there's 4 departments that are state police. You have transportation, you have transit, of course you have Maryland State Police, troopers, and then you have natural resource police. So MSP and NRP are the only 2 entities that have statewide jurisdiction. So we have full police powers, we have full state jurisdiction. We do traffic. And that is kind of, like I said, when I first came on, we were strictly fish, fur, and feathers. Even
Yeah.
though we had that authority, the administration at that time was like, there's traffic cops for that.
Yeah.
We want you on the water. And that's kind of changed as things have, developed, as areas have developed. And if you're driving through some areas, it's like if someone is being a hazard to the drivers, to themselves and drivers around you, then you have to do what you have to do. So oftentimes, and there people are often surprised. You get pulled over and they're like, well, you're natural resources. Can you pull us over? Yes, we absolutely can.
Yeah.
This is a real ticket.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about Maryland as a whole, but if we could, just for a little bit, we'll get back to it, but if we could focus on Queens County just for a second, what are some unique challenges that face waterfront communities like ours? And I'm sure, Devin, you can speak to this, but like, what makes this area so different? What are the challenges of being in Queens County?
As far as officer, like myself,
Yeah, for you, yeah.
just probably just trying to be everywhere at once. Like usually there's only one of us working, and like how do we cover all of this area like just by ourselves during our shift? Like it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
But that's why I rely on the community. That's like the biggest part of community building and trust. And it's like if you see it, we're available to hopefully take care of it if it is something illegal. And I mean the biggest issue for us is just being by ourselves, and anything can happen.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna know if
Yeah.
something happens to us. I mean they do check on us on the radio and stuff, but it might take a while for if something does happen to us. But that's my biggest.
I would say that
Safety-wise.
we really depend on our brother and sister agencies. We have to. There's just because there's so few of us when we are often working alone. About 2 years ago, I was looking for a hunter, and I walked into the middle of a drug deal, and there were 4 gentlemen, 2 of which were armed.
Oh, geez.
And I had to handle that by myself. And I would say that's typical for us as NRP. That's not unique to me in any way, shape, or form. We're almost always by ourselves. I've been out at 2:00 in the morning making an OWI arrest, and I remember one night Coast Guard pulls up, and they always travel about 4 or 5 in a vessel, and they were like, "What are you doing out here?" And I was like, "I got this OWI arrest. I'm getting my towing bridle together," and they were like, "Where's your partner?" And I'm like, I don't have one. This is just what we do, So, I mean, and I worked South River for years, which is one of the busiest rivers in the state. So when you're talking about kind of the uniqueness about that is like there is so much activity. You're by yourself and you're in this kind of great open space, and you could get a call for anything. And I remember as a young officer thinking, especially like when I first came on, that radio would crackle up and you'd be like, oh my goodness, what are they going to say? You'd just be worried like what was going to come over the radio, and is this something that I'm going to be able to handle? And as you go through the years, you get so proficient that you can almost tell what's going to happen. Just when you roll up on a scene, you're like, this is probably what's going to occur. But generally, just starting, it was like, oh my goodness, what's going to come over the radio? You'd get so anxious. I don't know. Did you feel that way at all?
Not too much.
Okay.
No. It's sort of like adding on to that is like the Queen Anne's County Sheriff's like they're awesome. Like if there's something I need help with, they're there. Like they're putting things down. They're coming to help. And I'll be the same for them. If there's something around me that I can help out with, I'm going. Like there's just an assault on Conquest Beach like 2 weeks ago, and I was like by myself. There's no one else coming. So I was like,
And it's not really close.
Just started Queen Anne's County by land, and sure enough, they were there before I was from the Narrows.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they're always reliable. Hats off to them.
No. We work very hard to maintain good relationships with our brother and sister departments. We have to.
I guess that goes for, because you're talking with sheriff, you're talking with emergency services, all the local agencies.
Yeah,
Make it all work?
mainly just law enforcement is. I mean, we'll help fire like both like water rescues and stuff. We'll be like fire and us will be out there together.
Okay.
But mainly just the law enforcement aspect is kind of what I was talking about for them as far as going to their calls and stuff.
What kind of resources do you bring that the residents might not even realize that you have available? Like we talked about SWAT. We talked a little bit about search and rescue. Is there anything else you think that maybe people don't realize that you guys have capabilities of?
Well, as I said, drones. Drones a big part. Our side scan sonar that our divers use. So if we're doing like a body recovery,
Okay.
we're able to deploy that. And it's probably developed even more since I've been out there with them. But they're very good in that. I mean, back in the day, it was like you'd be dredging, like looking for somebody.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We would run search patterns. Now they're able to deploy that, and they can actually like see what's under the water there, and that's helped get victims back to their families. So their families can have some peace. Obviously our aviation. Our investigators. I think probably one of the biggest thing is just our training. Our level of training, I would say, has evolved over the years, where it was just like you're out there, you're in the woods, or you're on the water, and you're going to learn kind of as you go. The veteran officers are going to kind of steer you and teach you things. And now, like, we're going into trainings where things I haven't really seen. I think you could say that about law enforcement as a whole, but I have not seen that for our department. That progression, that rapid progression, up until probably maybe like the last 10 years we've started. I recently went through a health and wellness certification with Baltimore County, and we talked about mental health and wellness for law enforcement professionals. That's not something that I would have seen, 25 years ago. And now we're understanding the importance of it. And that's just one form of training. I sat in on some leadership training a couple weeks ago that our supervisors, some of our new supervisors were going through. I think that our current colonel is very invested in the progression of leadership. And when I say leadership, I mean up and down the chain. So I was in the Marine Corps for a number of years. They start teaching you leadership day one, like as soon as you get on the island, that you're accountable for each other, right? And what I'm seeing now in my department is this change in the culture where we're going to prepare you for the next step, not just putting you out in the water and you'll learn as you go, but being very intentional in that approach of preparing you for your next step, so that when you get to that next step, you know how to prepare the person coming in up behind you.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's just to see that change in culture is very inspiring to me, especially after the years that I have, the decades I have on.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that you say all that because like we see that even on our level.
Yep.
I had a supervisor training and they did the exact same thing where they're saying the next leader, your job is to prepare this person that's going to
Yeah.
replace you,
Yeah.
so you can move up and then they can move up and the person behind them will have the same training.
Yeah.
And you talked about the mental health. We have that aspect.
We
being
just implemented
incorporated.
that, for our
For All
emergency services.
Seasons is an organization here in Queens County and most of the Eastern Shore, but they do programs for emergency services and mental health. So it's cool to see you guys also making those kind of moves because we're learning about what's important. And it's neat to see everyone's learning the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we talked about what you've seen the past 10 years. What do you see coming up in the next 10 years? Is there anything forward thinking for you guys, whether it's technology, programs, training?
That's a little bit above my grade right now. Just law changes, like what's going to come. Like I don't know what's down the pipeline, but making things more strict is usually what's going to happen. But hopefully we don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about drones. We can get a submarine. Can we get you guys?
I think there is one.
Oh, well, never mind.
There's something like that. It's like a robotic submarine. I've seen that somewhere.
Oh, see, yeah,
I'm
that's
sure.
very
It's floating
cool.
around. I don't know whose it was, but it was
Yeah.
cool.
I'm sure. Yeah. What do I see? I think the biggest thing is development of not just officers, but police community relations, right? So
Nice,
for
yeah.
for a department to be successful, it has to have the support of the community because Sir Robert Peel, who's the father of modern criminology, teaches us that police departments or police derive their authority from the police or from the public. So we can't progress unless we have the support of the community. And they're not just going to give us that support. We have to earn it. We have to earn that through representation. We have to earn that through trust. We have to earn that. We have to be intentional in
Yeah.
earning that. And so as we move forward, what I would hope to see is the continued growth of that that relationship between community and the department. Because at the end of the day, we're all better for that.
Yeah, I know you say you don't have all the staff you probably would love to have to be able to cover large areas.
Not nearly enough.
But do you have time, or are there people on the staff that are just for community events? Like they go to outreach and do all that kind of stuff?
Yes. We do have Officer Peterson is a part of our recruitment and community outreach unit. And we really see it as two sides of the same coin, community outreach and recruitment. But that is her kind of area specifically. And so one of the things she's actually looking at is developing our social media presence, which we have traditionally not had. So those are some of the things that we're doing. My commander and I are trying to develop a podcast for the Natural Resources Police, just as a way of being able to, another way of engaging with the community, answering questions, letting them know who we are, what our capabilities are, what our relationships are with other departments, and actually interdepartmentally, fisheries, biology, having them come over and they could talk about why this regulation is this way, or why this law is this way, or the importance of making sure that you have a boat plan or you have your safety equipment when you go out on the boat, all of those things. So yeah, I think that we're just looking to develop those relationships.
So you're doing recruitment. Are you ever in schools? Do you go to high schools and talk?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Schools, universities, community colleges, military bases, churches. Like that's kind of what my hope is, to set up certain pipelines. As I said, like we're the hardest department to join. And a lot of times people want to join, they don't necessarily understand who we are, but they're like, hey, this is a state job. It has good benefits, good pay. And so we want to kind of try to open the door as much as we can so people know who we are, so that we have a diverse pool when we're selecting. And so one of the ways that we're doing that is trying to develop pipelines for the military, for maybe veterans that are coming out, that are transitioning, like, hey, here's a great career, and we already know that you're a person of good character, and because you're coming out of the military, and we'd love to have you. Same thing with students, young students. And that's the thing about students. Like, I'll go and be at a job fair or career event, and I'm like, hey, come talk to me. Oh, I'm not really interested in being a police officer. If you give me 10 minutes, I can get them interested in being an officer. Like, I can tell them, like, hey, this is, think about a pension, think about take-home vehicle, think about pay, all
Being
of these,
on a
think about
boat.
retirement. Right. I mean, not to put find a point on it, but I can't tell you. There's been days when I'm going down the Chesapeake Bay and the sun is setting, and I'm like, I can't believe they pay me to do this. It is such a great job. And like I said, if I can get 10 minutes with someone, they will not only be interested in law enforcement, but like, I want to do what you do. So we're
Ray's in the booth right now. Ray's already put their 2 weeks in here. We're ready to join up.
Come talk to me.
Bye, Ray. So that's very cool. Could we maybe dive into a little bit about safety and community education? Yeah. Beth, what you got?
I mean, what are some important boating and safety tips? Because we are, right now in the middle of the summer. So what are some boating and safety tips that you have for our listeners?
Sure. Yeah, probably the first step would be what we call like a float plan. So that's like writing down everything of what you're going to do that day. So like what time you're leaving, like where you're going,
Okay.
like who's with you, and then what time you're expected back is the big one. Like if you're out past dark and you said you're going to be back at 5 p.m. Like,
And then give
you
that
might want
to
to give us a
someone.
call.
And then give that to someone so that they...
Yeah, leave that with somebody who's not on the water or expects you to be back. And then making sure all your safety equipment is on the boat. So life jackets for everybody on board. Fire extinguishers in case there's a fire, hopefully not. And then a way to attract someone's attention that your boat or something is happening on your boat that you need to get help for, like flares or a whistle.
Okay.
Those are the big ones. And then just being able to, like the boater safety course that's available online, some of them are free. Like even an experienced boater, I would say just take it, take it once a year just to refresh. Because those laws don't change too much, but it's still good to have that baseline of like how boats are supposed to come together and give away and all that kind of stuff.
And we host it here sometimes too. I think Parks and Rec does.
Oh, really?
Boater safety, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've put press releases out for that before. That we've done that. We do that, and we just started hosting actually hunter safety.
Oh, really?
We did that for the first time this
that's
year. Our
awesome.
Parks and Rec department hosted a hunter safety class.
That's awesome. Yep, I always suggest taking that. And then even as a passenger, I always suggest, like, you think for your own safety, like, is this operator good to operate? Is he good? Is he could he or she be a hazard on the water? And like, should I go or should I stay?
So no drinking
I didn't say that.
while you're driving the boat.
Responsibly. Oh, while you're driving. Just be responsible.
Be responsible.
That's right. That's the biggest takeaway for that.
If we could jump into that for a second, because to me it seems easy to be able to identify someone who's drinking behind the wheel of a car.
Yeah.
Like you can see the signs. It's very easy. What do you look for when you're looking at a boat?
Well, usually it's hard to tell if they're just going forward. If they're underway, it's hard to tell.
Right.
Unless they're like sleeping, laying back or something. Obviously something's going on. But we usually won't be able to tell unless we stop them for some other reason.
Gotcha.
And then the same impairment things as driving, we'd be able to see while they're on a boat, kind of thing.
Because they're not swerving.
Yeah, that's
You let go of the wheel, and it's.
I don't know, man. That's the way the waves took me.
So you were talking earlier about like how our job differs, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm on a road behind someone and I see them going over the line or right, then that's my probable cause to effect a stop.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't have that on the water. So generally what we're looking, because we have to have probable cause.
Yeah.
Right. Just like every other department, we prefer to have probable cause. In our case. If the registration is wrong, right, or if it's after sunset and they don't have their nav lights on, that's our probable cause. But then, so there's different phases, right? So there's the observation phase, then we go into our interview phase. If during the interview, the subject's voice is slurred or they don't seem to know where their safety equipment is, we might start asking questions, especially if we see maybe some empty beer cans or something like that. So our officers are really good at detecting that. And on a further note, I would just say that we were saying be smart, right? Be responsible when you're out there. There are so many people that would never consider drinking and driving, right? Like that's not me. Like if I'm leaving a restaurant, if I'm going to a restaurant and I got to drive home, and they don't think about it on the water.
Yeah, they don't think it's as big of a deal on a boat.
Because you can have an open container in a vessel, but the BAC is the same on the water as it is on land. So after one beer, you're going to be over, right? And if you're out with family, you're out with friends and the kids, and you guys are out somewhere, you might not be thinking, especially when that sun is beating down and you have that second beer. And your body's already working a little bit harder.
Right.
It's already a little bit more fatigued because of the sun and the surf and the waves. All of these things fatigue your body, so that beer is almost amplified. And I can't tell you in my career how often I've come across someone and I see some empties and I'm in my interview phase and I maybe start asking questions, and you see that light click in their head like, oh, this is an alcohol violation. You see it like click in there. Like, it's like they never thought they'd be in this situation. And we don't do alphabet anymore. But when I first started, we'd say, hey, what's your highest level of education? Your alphabet. Can you recite your alphabet for me? And they're A, B, G, A, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Yes.
And you're
They didn't teach me that one.
Right. And you're like, I need you to try that again, Captain, because this is, and you can see they realize how serious it gets. So that's why we say just be responsible. It's nothing wrong with going out there and having a good time and enjoying a beverage, just as long as you're doing it responsibly. And we encourage you, just have a safe driver. Just have a sober driver, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Well, those are great tips for all of our boaters out there, especially in this area. We know we have a lot. But you guys do a lot more than just that. You protect our natural resources. You support conservation. Are there any tips for residents to be able to help in that cause also?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing they could do for us is just to be a good witness. Everyone has cell phones with really, really good cameras. And I think just taking videos or pictures, like, don't confront the person.
Yeah.
Just do that and call us. And then we'll be out there. And that evidence goes a long way if we're not there and we can't see it ourselves.
So how does someone do that? How do they call? Like, how do they get a hold of you guys?
The phone number is 410-260-8888. That's like the 24-hour number.
Okay.
That's our dispatch, yeah.
Dispatch, yeah. And then just call in there, say I have a person violating whatever, and I have photographs. And then, like, if I'm working, the call will be sent to me. And then I'll call them directly and get the photos and meet up with them if they want to, or just however they want it to be handled, and I'll go from there. But
yeah, we really rely on the citizens of the state to do our jobs effectively.
Yeah, because I would rather have you call it in and it not be a violation than them not calling it in and they're
And nothing
something.
happens.
Yep,
Yeah.
they do something every day for 10 years and no one calls it in. Then just waiting on that one day where they call it.
Yeah, because there's so few of us, we tend to go to the areas that are like hotspots. Like when we know there's activity, we know there's traditionally issues there, that's where we tend to go so that we can be most effective. So if there's an issue going on somewhere and we're not being made aware of it, again, there's only 260 of us, we're probably not going to happen upon it. So if someone sees something, we appreciate their letting us know.
Yeah. Well, we've learned a lot about you guys today.
Oh, yeah.
And the one thing that we've definitely learned is that everyone's going to be interested in a career with you guys now that they've heard this. I don't know, Beth, what we got? Do we have any questions about career and recruitment that we want to get past them?
Those are my favorite. So if somebody's interested in a career with you guys, what kind of opportunities are available?
But unfortunately, we don't have, at this time, we don't have a cadet program or internships.
Okay.
But what we are looking at every September, having a class of minimum of 15 people. So, which is very good. I mean, when I came on, they hired maybe every 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's why we had 6,000 people test for my class, and we had 12 people in my class, and not including our laterals. But we're probably the hardest department to join, and that's just because we really don't have anybody who leaves. So we don't have a lot of pins open up. And so we are trying to grow. And we are trying to have a class every year now of 15. That's what our goal is. So with that being said, I encourage people when people call me and say, what can I do? I encourage you to get your boater safety card. We talked about that a little bit earlier. If you were born after July 1st, 1972, you're not required to get one. I'm sorry, if you were born prior to that, you're not required to have one. Afterwards, you do have to have one. But if someone wants to come on and they don't have a boater safety card, I'm like, get your boater safety card, get your hunter safety card. We are going to look at, our investigators are going to delve into anyone's background that passes our test selection. They want to see people who are good moral character, that they are capable of critical thought under pressure, things of that nature, that they've made good decisions in their life leading up into this point. And, we get a wide variety of people that want to choose that career path. Some, they're like, this is what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. This is all I've ever thought about. And some people are like, I've been in IT all my life, or I've been, whatever.
Yeah.
I've been a manager, and I just want to do something different. We do have a reserve officer program and I can't say enough about our reserve officers. They are a huge help to us. They're huge support. And often their efforts are not noted, but we rely on them a great deal. One of the things that we are trying to do, and this is very preliminary, so we haven't even worked this out yet, but what I would like to do is develop a pipeline within that reserve officer program for persons that are like, I want to be an NRP officer, and it's not open right now, but I want to serve the state. I want to give time to the state. So getting that reserve officer program, they are actually able to get certifications in water rescue or seamanship and navigation, search management. And these are all things that they're able to put on their resume. So when they do apply, they know us, we know them. Every department has its own culture, and we are very unique as NRP officers. Nobody does what we do. And so when people are able to spend time with us, and especially in that capacity as reserve officers, they can get to kind of see what it's like for us on a day-to-day, being out in the boats or in the parks, or state lands. And I think that benefits them a lot when they're applying. So those are the recommendations that I generally give.
Okay.
And you can always call us and request a ride along, which I think is huge. Come out, ride
Field
with
trip.
an officer.
We should get TV to do.
I was going to say
We can
field
come out
trip.
and do a date with you.
Please do.
That would be fun. Yeah, we could do
Please
that.
do.
Talk to my
Please
command.
do.
So, Devin, I guess it's been 6 years, right? You've been we're going to take you back 6 years, but do you remember the training and kind of what was that like, the training and going through recruitment?
Recruitment-wise, I was an alternate, so I didn't even get into the academy initially. Someone had to either quit, leave, or get kicked out for me to have that spot there, which luckily it did. But
Hey, it worked out for you, and we're not going to complain.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it 9 months? 9 months of academy, living in academy then. So every day, 5 days a week living there.
Go home on weekends.
Yeah, weekend, sometimes. Most of the time. I don't think we stayed. Oh, there was a COVID class that year.
Oh, yeah, that was probably different.
That was different experience.
We were home for a total of a month or two, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we didn't get the full experience, which is, I kind of wanted it, but.
So these kids coming out now, they get the full experience. You're like, you're lucky.
Well, just like the learning, because you learn by Google files and all that stuff, and it was not the same.
Yeah, they're going to get the hands on them.
Like retention and all that stuff. It's like when you came out, it's like I was definitely not where I wanted to be as far as knowing the information. Tried our best. They tried their best. I mean, they did a good job.
That was a hard time.
Trying to teach us.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, we have to do online learning now. It's like, surprise. But no, they did a good job as far as what they could do. But no,
Hey, it's worked out. Look at you.
I made it.
It worked. Yeah.
No, it was good. It was all a good time. Like learning all the law and all the laws that we didn't cover in the academy. Like how much more there was to constantly learn as far as like case law and.
Well, I'm sure that's probably always the case,
law.
right? There's always more to learn.
There's always something.
It's always
new case law
changing
coming
and
out and stuff like
evolving.
that. And that's something that we definitely care about as far as enforcement wise and civilly protecting ourselves and just being the best officer we can be for the general public.
Well, we've had a lot of fun talking to you guys. This
Yeah.
has been awesome. But we have a couple of questions we want to ask that you can let your guard down a little bit.
Okay.
We're just going to do some fun personal questions, if that's all right.
All right.
What's the most memorable experience you've had during your career?
Other than the water rescues I talked about already. Do you want me to talk about those again? This is just generalized.
Yeah.
Just generalized as boat fires, people hopping in the water. Life jackets or not, just rolling up on them, getting them out of the water first. Because if I'm on the water, I'm going. It doesn't matter where it is. But those are good. But the one I was thinking of was Tuckahoe. You got a call for an injured animal. I know it was Youth Day at the state park there at Tuckahoe. So I get there, the deer was shot. Let me back up there a second. So I was going into it. There's a father and son walking out. So I was just chit-chatting with them, like, oh yeah, they said they shot at one, shot at the deer, didn't get it, lost it. So I go up to where the deer was, and it was a deer that was shot. So I was like, oh. I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, that's probably the one that they shot at. So I was able to go back to our check-in, get their phone number, and call them. I was like, oh, there's a deer out here that was shot. It's like, you want to come check it? Like, check it, see if it's yours. And yeah, sure enough, it was one they shot at. So that was the kid's first deer.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
First deer that he shot, and he's like, I put it down first, well, because it was suffering, but it was just like rewarding to be able to give that deer to the actual kid who was hunting. Because I remember my first deer,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find it. We didn't find it for months. So
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
it was like being. I was 7 years old, so it was a bad shot. I'll admit it, but just being able to give the kid that experience of getting their first deer,
Yeah.
and not being let down, like, oh, I missed it, I can't shoot anything.
Now, I've never hunted, so I don't know. Is that something that does happen more often than people probably realize? That
That they wound.
yeah, that they got the deer, but then they aren't able to find.
Yeah, sometimes if they shoot them farther back in like the stomach, they won't die for days or weeks.
Okay.
Sometimes depends, but then that's on them to keep looking, keep trying to find it, and but that's when they call in like drone. There's drone services out there that'll go try to find the deer that you shoot and wound
Okay.
if you can't find it yourself, just
Right.
to make it, just to be able to harvest it and make it, bring it back home.
So that father and son were able to come in and get the deer?
Yep.
Now, is there a picture on their wall somewhere of them with the deer and you're in the background just.
I don't think,
No, you didn't. You
don't
didn't
think
make the
they have
family
pictures.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think so. But that was one of the most rewarding ones, as far as like from my own personal experiences of hunting, to be able to get them the deer that they shot.
Yeah, and we talked about being a part of a community. You've made their day.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that kid was. Now they have such a great experience with you.
Yeah, I mean,
really
they,
cool.
they didn't feel good as far as like the shot and like the suffering.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I
I was like
understand.
trying to educate them, like it's like that's what happens when you hunt. Like
Right.
you're just learning,
Yeah.
and it's a good learning experience for you. So
Yeah. We gave you the time.
Oh my goodness, so many. So many things to think about. From the most impactful, like recently when we had the helicopter crash into the airplane on the Potomac, and being one of the first on scene, and seeing my officers, my department, go into supporting DC and Virginia. That I think that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. Making Officer of the Year for my department. Was
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. That was some years ago, but I took a lot of pride in that. I think if I was going to name one thing, it would be along the lines of what you said. It's just like the impact that we were able to have on the community, I think is what resonates with me the most. Oftentimes, if someone's getting pulled over by a trooper or county residents county officers are coming to someone's house, it's because there's probably an issue there, and a problem, right? So
Yeah.
there's tension there, there's some apprehension. Oftentimes, when we're encountering the public, it's just in a patrol, like we might be just walking through the park, making sure everybody's safe and having a good time, or we might come alongside someone. We actually have get an opportunity to put a positive face on law enforcement and have a positive interaction with the public. And if there's one thing that I have loved in my job, it's that, not just the ability to save lives, which we do, and support our communities, but like I'll go on a pier and there'll be a pier full of people and kids are fishing or crabbing or whatever, And it's like, this is my time to engage, shake hands, and joke with the kids. You know, I often like to ask the kids, like, so who's catching all the fish? Where's your dad got the fish at? You know, and have that that interaction with them so that they can leave. And we're not always able to leave with a positive interaction if we're maybe writing a citation or something like that. But we have that opportunity, and it gives me an opportunity to build those connections. And I think that's what I take the most away from.
So if our residents have one thing that they could take from today's conversation, what would you want them to bring back from that?
We're not going to let the camera die this time, so you don't get time to think.
No.
Just as far as the community goes, to help the conservation side, I think just calling in if you see something, because we won't be able to see it, obviously, if you see it first. And if there's one of us working, like the chance of us seeing it is very low. And a lot of people live on the water, like up in smaller creeks and stuff where we won't see anything. And my advice is just to call it in and let us figure out if it's something that's illegal.
Okay.
That's what we're here for. Is we're here for you, so here for the public.
I would say we talked about a boat plan earlier. You can do the same thing for a hunt.
Okay.
You know, if you're going out, make sure your family know where you're going to be, what area you're going to be, have some way to contact them. They should know when to expect you back, just in case the unforeseen should happen. And also, like, when you're out in the water, like, you know, things do happen out there. Storms come up quick. Have a plan. You can never be safe enough. Make sure that you're storing your equipment in a safe place. Oftentimes, when I was in the water, in the field and on the water, and I'm checking life jackets, they're in a plastic package somewhere stored away somewhere, and they're rotting, and they're not going to do anyone any good. We like to see those life jackets out. We like to see them worn. If you're 13 or older, you don't have to wear it, but we like to see them because oftentimes someone ends up in the water they don't expect. We just want to make sure that they're safe. And then just, as Devin said, like, we are here to serve the people of the state of Maryland. If you're interested in a career with us, please give us a contact. That I know I'm biased in saying this, but I think that we are, in my opinion, we're the elite. You know, as my colonel said when he came over from Baltimore County, he's like, you guys are like the Navy SEALs of law enforcement, you know, which is not complete, you know, it's not, we're on the land, we're in the water, we're in the air, like, we kind of do it all. So, you know, and obviously I'm a little biased. I've been here for 30 years, but I take a lot of pride in being an NRP officer. And I will say, Captain Sharon Brannick said when I came on almost 30 years ago, she said, we are a statewide department, but there's not very many of us, and we're like a family. And that has always resonated with me. When I see new officers coming on, I see old officers leaving, but whenever, you know, we get the opportunity to come together, that's what it feels like to me, is family. And I'm very honored to be a part of this department and be able to represent them. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to do so.
Yeah, I mean, you literally just answered our closing question before we could ask it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to change gears. I have a new closing question.
Oh,
this
no.
is it. Yeah, so this is your fault. So you get to be out on a boat. You get to go out when people are hunting. You get to go out on all these different experiences. But when you're off, do you do that for yourselves?
I still go
That's a
on.
good question.
I do not own a boat.
Okay.
I get enough boating. I've not looked into buying boat because of that.
So to dovetail on that, for years I said I would never buy a boat because I spend almost, especially at that time, every day, all day on a boat. But it's funny, I went out on a boat with a friend of mine recently, and I was like, this is a completely different experience. Like, I really
you're not
enjoy
working.
this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but in my off time, I like to spend time with my family, and yeah, that's my big thing.
All right. Very cool. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We had a
Thank
great
you.
time learning about what you guys do.
Thank you.
You educated us. We'll never ask the ignorant question again. We'll never repeat the question of, I know you handle more than fishing.
Oh, gotcha.
And normally we like to talk about all the amazing videos that we've done with our guests, but we haven't got a chance to do one yet.
But we will.
So
That's our goal.
We will now.
Yes.
We now know that we're going to do a ride-along with you guys if we can get that up the ladder and pass. That would be cool to do.
absolutely, yeah.
And then we'll let people
Let's
know.
make that happen.
Yeah,
Let's
that would be
make that
really
happen.
cool.
Game
But
cops.
go online, learn more. Reach out. They would love to hear from you if you're interested in either
Yes.
joining them or if you want to reach out because there's something you need to report. We now know the number. Could you give us the number one more time in case anyone needs to contact you?
410-260-8888.
There you go. So, Devin, Norris, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a
It's been an honor.
pleasure. It was a great time. I want to thank Beth, who put together this episode, did our contacts, had all the questions. She supplied the coffee that we're all drinking. You can hold up your mugs. And another thank to Open Seas, who is a local company here in Queens County that we get our coffee from. And a special thanks to Ray, who's in our booth doing our show today and making sure everyone can see and hear us. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Devin and Norris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But now that we've concluded, I need to do one last thing, and that's close this agenda.
Lights on, mic check. What's happening with QAC next? Go behind the scenes with Bruce and Beth. The conversation shaping the county's future.
This is the open agenda.